We are live here at the Genzio Media House here at ETH Denver on opening day, and I'm here with Ben Beckman, CTO of Midnight. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I enjoy coming to ETH Denver every year, and today, beautiful weather, sunny day, lots of exciting people.
That's amazing. How are you feeling? How's the energy?
I'm excited, I'm pumped, ready
That's,
to go.
that's awesome. Before we started this interview, you told me that this is your fifth time at ETH Denver, and you've never stepped foot inside the actual conference.
That is true. So, ETH Denver is a very vibrant conference, which has many, many side events. And so, you do 4 or 5 of those a day. You don't quite make it to the main conference hall.
Okay. Well, we'll see how long you'll keep that up. Okay, so tell me a little bit about your background before we get into Midnight.
Sure. So I'm one of those folks that went to college for a very long time. I'm a computer scientist by training. I really enjoy it. I got out of school, went to work corporate R&D, Fortune 20, worked on various government contracts. That's actually where I got introduced into blockchain, which we can talk about in a little bit. From there, I started chasing unicorns, worked for one that kind of famously failed down in South Florida. Got into venture capital. I was the mechanic that would come in and out of various equity positions that we would take. It's a tough job because you're always coming in kind of trying to fix things.
Mm,
And then moved on to work for a company named IOHK, which you may know had built Cardano. We're working on the next one, which is named Midnight.
okay, amazing. So that's what a rich background.
Thank you.
So tell me about Midnight.
So Midnight is a fourth generation blockchain. What do I mean by fourth generation? Well, first generation value transfer. This is where Bitcoins, Litecoin, Monero, all of those kind of showed up. Second generation programmable. This is where Ethereum and smart contracts showed up. Third generation speed and efficiency. So proof of stake showed up. High transaction volume showed up. What's missing in all of these is they're a great efficiency machine, but it made everything transparent.
Hmm.
So now, if someone wants to, they can come figure out what your balance is and all that with all of these chains. So the missing ingredient is privacy. What Midnight offers is the ability to transact using private information, where that private information never leaves your possession, but you can still advance the state of the chain.
For someone who doesn't quite fully understand the vastness of this ecosystem, I would one would assume that blockchain has a lot of privacy, where there's a wallet and you're not, your identity isn't out there. So can you kind of explain what privacy actually means in this case?
Sure. So if you look at a blockchain, you're pseudo anonymous. There's this really long number, and underneath that number is some value, and you have the ability to move it around.
Right.
There are ways of getting telemetry and signals out of how that is interacted, and there are kind of very famous stories about people getting doxxed and other things because they figure out who you are, and then they kind of come after you if they
Right.
have
Right.
those types of intents. What Midnight offers you is the ability to actually have interaction with other counterparties or transactions between them where you're not revealing everything. You're not revealing
Hmm.
that I spent $5 this morning on a coffee, or bought a drink, and you're not able to profile me. What Midnight lets you do is it lets you kind of revert to real life, where me and the barista and maybe my credit card company, they know I spent $5 on this coffee, but there's no record that the rest of the world can aggregate and try to triangulate and figure out who I am.
Hmm.
So what Midnight does is it tries to move us back towards the the part of the world where you can actually have this type of privacy in an interaction, and that type of privacy is required when you want to actually do business with real companies, or not have everybody know how much you paid for that car out in the driveway or
Right.
stuff like that.
So how are you guys navigating privacy different than other blockchains?
So we have an interesting token model, and let me describe it for a moment. So we have a dual token model. One of the tokens is the value carrying governance token. So this is the open token that you can see, and you can watch how it moves around. That token allows you to generate the fuel for the network.
Hmm.
So with that token, you can make a gesture, kind of like staking. You gesture, you make a stake, but in this case, you generate the fuel.
Mm-hmm.
And so just by holding the unshielded token, you generate this fuel, and the fuel is shielded. So now you can execute smart contracts in a shielded way. And in addition to that, you can do it completely private, like maybe you're playing a poker game and you're not going to show your cards at all. Or maybe sometimes you have to reveal some information, like, we make a bet while we're playing and I actually have to show you what I have. So you can enable that through our system, and what it allows is it allows the developer to build out a smart contract, select what is disclosed and what is not, and then inform the user when they're kind of clicking through the website to say, hey, this private information remains private. This other private information could become public. Is that okay with you? And now you're empowered to make the choice.
And that doesn't exist currently.
It doesn't. So if you roll back the clock a little bit, there were some legal bills that were floating around that tried to categorize what a privacy coin was, and that spooked the market. So nobody wanted to step in this direction, and even certain chains removed capability.
Why?
Well,
why would people not want to step into that?
Because they were going to make it so that you wouldn't be able to put them on exchanges.
Gotcha.
The regulators are going
to
put their thumb on you. And so how we have designed our system, since the fuel is the shielded side, that fuel has some properties that make it so it's not a value carrying token. It decays. So it's like a battery. It charges up, you spend it, it'll charge back up. But if you pull away the unshielded token, it'll decay down to nothing.
Gotcha.
So it's not something you can store value in, at least not for very long, because it's like a banana, right? The banana is good today, but it's not so good, next week.
Right. Okay, fascinating. What are some type of applications or use cases you see thriving on Midnight?
So there are a bunch, and we're definitely kind of riding the wave here. So real world assets is something that is very in tune with what our system allows you to do and what capabilities people want to put into these systems.
Right.
For example, the house we're in here, you guys bought it from the city. There's probably a record that's public that says, hey, somebody owns it. It's this lot, so on and so forth.
Right.
The mortgage, maybe not so much, right? That's between the homeowner and the bank. And so you want a separation. You want to be able to expose that the asset exists, right? Maybe your TVL has to be related with that, but you don't have to expose whose it is. And then you also don't have to expose kind of what their position is, what they're going to do with it next, right? And if you use other blockchains, when those assets move around, there's a signal.
Right.
And if somebody's playing the game against you,
right,
they can take advantage of that.
With signal. Front running and with really so many different things.
Lots of things, yeah.
Wow. Okay. So I guess how can developers or users start getting involved with Midnight right now?
So Midnight today is in Testnet. It's live. You can touch it. You can feel it. You can come talk to us. You can tell us what you like and what you don't like. And that would make me the happiest man on the planet. You can come to midnight.network, find all of the documentation that you need. You can download the example apps. You can start to use the system. The system uses a novel programming model. Came out of the University of Edinburgh. It's called Kachina. The embodiment that we have in the system is named Compact, like an agreement, a compact.
Okay.
So you write your compact code. If you're a blockchain developer and you've seen Solidity, it'll take you about 2 seconds to learn Compact. So Compact has this very similar format. It's TypeScript oriented, so you can do all of your tuple manipulation that you need to. And when you move from your web app into where the contract is, it's not jarring because it's basically the same exact syntax. And so what you can do with Kachina is you can build out an application where you have your public state. You just grab that up at the top. You have your witness, which is your private information that's going to stay with you. And then you have your functions that are circuits, zk circuits, that when you run the system, they'll download to your machine. You'll build a proof using those circuits and the witness that you want to include. And then what goes to the chain is a proof and potentially any public state that you want to update. That's it.
Wow.
So the chain doesn't even know what the smart contracts are doing. It's not even recorded there.
Wow.
So we're actually adding decentralization even more because you're running the smart contracts like literally on your laptop or on your desktop, downloaded from some web app or dApp that you're using, and then the proofs and the transcript to update the public state. That's what goes to chain, nothing else.
Wow. That sounds super innovative in this space.
It's pretty cool. I think we're hitting the market kind of right at the right time, hanging out here at ETH Denver,
Amazing.
hearing lots of things that I love to hear. And I'll be a little selfish here, but we're right there, man. We're ready to roll, and we're hot shit. Let's just put it that way.
That's what's up. There we go. You heard it. You guys mentioned you have a hackathon, right?
We do. Yep. So we did a hackathon at the beginning of ETH Denver.
Okay.
We had quite a few participants. We put up some bounties, so you can win a couple grand if you're participating. We run virtual hackathons continuously. So if you're not in Denver, you're somewhere else in the world, you can come get engaged. And then we, throughout the year, will continue to have both the virtual ones and in-person ones that move around to get people interested and really to get feedback. Right? We're in Testnet. And the biggest mistake you can do is kind of polish the stone before you let anybody see it. It's not the way we're working here. We're working open kimono. Come test the system out. Come use it. Come tell us what you like, what you don't like. And now we have time to correct it before we get to mainnet. Off we go.
Wow. Okay. Yep. And you guys have a coin launching soon?
So we will do a novel drop referred to as the Glacier drop. We haven't publicized all of that quite yet, but it'll be distributed to multiple chains because we're a very inclusive ecosystem. I know we grow out of Cardano, but there's many others that we want to participate with. That coin, there'll be a particular process for how you come and collect it, but if you hold crypto kind of in some of the name brand assets, it'll be granted to you, and we'll definitely publicize that more when we're ready to do it.
Amazing. Okay, well, there's a lot of alpha here, a lot of excitement. I'm super stoked, and thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, no, thank you for the opportunity. It's great, and thank you for having ETH Denver, man.
Absolutely,
I look forward to doing it next year.
Absolutely.
Brought to you by Hedera and Foresight Ventures.
Hey, what's up?
But it's not something Genzio is afraid of.
If you want to survive, you got to build a hive.
We do not understand that we do not
Ladies and gentlemen,
We're back at the Genzio Media House.
Awesome. Thanks so much for joining us today.